Hi, I'm Marlena,
And I'm Ashley.
and today on The Care Truth, we're going to be talking about how to debunk the myth that you only move into a care suite or home if you're in a crisis. We're going to talk today about some of the triggers or warning signs that it's time to make that change. So, Ashley, remind everybody, what's a real conversation?
Yeah, so we're here today to keep it real. With that, we are here to respect the journey, provide empowering insights, and have lighthearted conversations. These conversations can be very difficult. We're here to keep it real, keep it honest, keep it lighthearted, so that you can move forward with the knowledge and power you need in order to make an informed decision for your loved one.
Yes, absolutely. So tell me again, what are some triggers or what are some signs that families might look for to say, now is the time that we should go from home to some kind of care?
I think the biggest number one sign that I see is changes in behavior.
Tell me a little more about that.
Yeah, so something that's usually pretty common, you could say you have your mom who's always been a very social, bubbly, outgoing individual. All of a sudden now she's isolating. She's no longer going to card club, or she's no longer, wanting to participate during family gatherings. The other thing could be isolation. So she might be hiding out in her room more, or signs of paranoia where she might be hiding her wallet thinking somebody is stealing something from her, or frequently misplacing things. Those are signs that I see often a lot that families talk about.
Yeah, so it's important to make sure that we're thinking about those changes, and when we're seeing the changes, to be proactive and look at what your mom maybe had been before and where they're at now, and have a real conversation with her and your other family members that this change isn't just aging. This is more, and the more means that care is needed.
Yep, and that can also lead to some safety concerns as well.
Absolutely.
One of the other major things I think that you see a lot is frequent fall risks. If you have a loved one that is starting to have frequent falls, that might mean it's time for a change, especially if you're in a home that has stairs, if you're in and out of even climbing in and out of the bathtub. Huge risk for falls.
Yeah, and there are things that we all know we can do to prevent falls, right? We've heard them all. Remove the rugs, make sure any spills get mopped up right away, making sure there's not a lot of clutter on the floor. All of those things can prevent a lot of the falls, but if falls are happening, then the precautions that are being put in place aren't being followed, and it's time for more care.
Right.
Absolutely. What else?
And I think that kind of leads into full-time supervision. If you're starting to see that your loved one is alone for an extended period of time, cognitive decline is going to happen quite rapidly, and you are going to be at risk for more safety issues. And a lot of the times I think a lot of loved ones feel like they are the best ones to care for their loved one, but caregiver burnout is a real thing. If you're burnt out, and if you're the son or the daughter and you're working full-time or raising your own family in addition to taking care of your parent, the burnout is real. And you might think that you're doing a great job, and you probably are doing the best that you can, but sometimes that might not be enough or safe enough.
Yeah, and I think it's fair also to remember that no situation's going to be perfect, and so your house isn't perfect either. Caring for your mom or dad and feeling like you're doing everything. When you're there, you're checking if their food's expired in their fridge, you're checking if they've gotten their laundry, you're checking if all their meds have been taken, you're checking to see if their meds are packed properly, you're looking at appointments, you're doing all this, and you're not enjoying your mom or dad. You're just managing care constantly, and that's not the best way to live for you or for them. They start to feel a burden, and then they start avoiding telling you things because they don't want you to be overstressed, and it turns into this huge cycle of not really doing the things that you enjoy. And so why not hand the parts off that you don't like to someone who knows how to do it, who's a professional and can really manage it well, and then you get to go back to being the daughter or the son or the spouse and get to enjoy them for who they are, which is really important as well.
Yeah, because a lot of times family tensions seem to rise in crisis situations. Families become in a panic, and then people are butting heads because the conversations don't happen sooner, there's no plans in place, and then that really can kind of tear families apart, and it's the worst time for that to happen.
Absolutely. So, what's another trigger, Ashley, that people should think about?
I would say another big warning sign would be unkept appearances. If you see your loved one wearing clothing that might be out of season, so if it's winter time and they're wearing shorts and walking outside to get the mail in shorts and not wearing a jacket, if they're wearing the same clothing over and over, not changing, if you're noticing that they're not showering very often, that can lead to a lot of different things as well, like increased infections.
Yes, absolutely. UTIs are real and cause all kinds of problems with our seniors. So, if you're starting to smell like they're not really as kept up as they used to be, that's definitely an indicator that a change is necessary. Last one I think that we should probably talk about is being diagnosed with the progressive disease.
Correct.
And so, depending on the disease, it may not mean that you need to do an immediate move, but you should start having a plan with your loved one while they're able to participate. If your loved one gets diagnosed with ALS, for instance, it would be really good at the beginning to talk about, when you get to what point do you feel like it's appropriate for us to look into going from home to care? So that way everyone's on the same page and that it's not this big surprise. And the big benefit of doing this ahead of time and not waiting for the crisis is you have so many more choices. I talk to families all the time that it's so much better to use that old sports adage, to pass when you can, not when you have to. And so when you can go around and investigate all the options and you can really dive into the amenities and what they can do, that's when you should. And when you find the right room and the right spot, take it. Because when you need it in a crisis, it's probably not going to be there. You may just avoid that crisis by making the change early.
Yeah, and with that, you really can improve the quality of life ahead of time before the crisis hits hard. So like you were saying, if you get diagnosed with Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or ALS, getting those steps and the care in place before things get really bad, you can still make sure that your loved one is able to enjoy a quality of life that they deserve to have and get the care that they deserve to have as well.
Absolutely.
Instead of having a panic mode and nobody has a say in what's going on. It just makes life so much harder, and life's already hard as it is, right?
That is so true. So I hope that you felt like you got that myth debunked, that you don't need to wait for a crisis. You can make proactive steps and find the right spot for mom or dad or your spouse or siblings before that crisis happens. We really appreciate you coming and spending a little time with the Care Truth. Hopefully you found this information valuable. If you did, please like and subscribe to our channel. We're trying to grow our following, and we will be back next week thinking about, what should we talk about next week? Hospice?
Yeah.
We haven't talked about hospice yet much.
Yeah,
so
that's another good one.
We'll look at having a guest speaker on next week and talk about some hospice and when you should get on hospice and all the benefits of hospice, and really acknowledging that you have a choice in hospice.
And what that means, because I think there's a lot of stigma behind that one too. So.
Very true. Lots of myths to debunk. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us. I'm Marlena.
I'm Ashley.
And thank you for joining us on The Care Truth.